This is Lee Merritt, civil rights attorney. As he was explaining earlier, he's from Philadelphia, correct?
Philadelphia, originally I'm a Philadelphia lawyer.
Yeah. And he came here to Texas after getting involved in, I believe, a couple of cases that really brought the state to your attention.
That's right.
Which is a call I make a lot. People always tell me you need to leave Texas. I'm like, no, you need to come here.
That's right. The fight is here.
The fight is here. And it affects everywhere, as we know. So now you're running for Attorney General. You referred to Ken Paxton earlier as a deadbeat. I couldn't agree more. And you're looking to replace Ken Paxton. So I'm going to post a link to your website where people can support. But I want you to explain to people what your goal is by becoming Attorney General, what the problems you see with Ken Paxton's role as Attorney General thus far, and how you're going to change this culture of deceit and unaccountability in a state that has become known for it.
The Texas Attorney General position, the office, is the largest law firm, one of the largest law firms in the country, but certainly the largest law firm in Texas. Here, let me use the math.
No problem. Right. No problem.
Certainly one of the largest law firms in Texas. A $1.26 billion budget that is supposed to be used to impact almost every aspect of Texas life. So when we start talking about the power grid or the property taxes or school funding, CRT, voter suppression, women's rights, all of those resources in the Texas Attorney General's office is supposed to be a call center where the people of Texas or interest groups can contact the Attorney General's office and receive an advocate. Right now, our Attorney General's office is using its 4,000 employees, 370 attorneys, 37 divisions as a blunt instrument to attack civil rights in Texas. Yes. We've seen the Attorney General file 6 civil lawsuits recently against our school districts in order to stop them from doing what I was just doing, which is following the CDC guidelines and wearing masks while on campus in order to prevent the spread of a deadly pandemic at the same time as hospital beds fill up. And so our Attorney General's office is doing the opposite of what we expect that huge, I must emphasize, taxpayer-funded law firm. And we've yielded this power over to the Republican Party for almost 30 years, and we've watched as they've worked against our own interests, where they've deregulated the power grid so that power distribution companies can run ripshod on the public people, leaving us in the dark, gouging us on prices. We've allowed the Attorney General's office to lead the charge in voter suppression and the prosecution of people like Hervis Rogers or Crystal Mason and other black and brown folks who have been attempting to vote. We have an opportunity to completely reverse course, take all of those significant resources that we provide the Republican government and allow it to go to a true progressive. I'm running, and I want you all to support the campaign for Lee Merritt for Texas. But the truth is, it really should say the movement for Texas. I plan to be what I've always been, which is the people's lawyer, someone who answers the call when Marvin Scott and Ronald Green and Darius Tarver and Patrick Warren Sr. and Tatiana Jefferson, when their families call and say, my civil rights are being violated or have been violated, a loved one has been killed, and it's the consequence of the deadliest police culture in the modern world, the most incarcerated nation in world history. We need someone to fight for us to do that. I've been able to fight for Texans and people all over the country, from Ahmaud Arbery in Georgia to Jamel Roberson in Chicago to Sean Monterosa in California. I've been able to fight with people based on my meager resources and my small law firm. We've been able to impact the nation. Imagine what we can do with 375 attorneys, $1.26 billion budget, what we can do with one of the ninth largest economy in the free world. We can really not only change Texas, but change the entire nation. We can end the war on drugs. We can end the era of mass incarceration. We can begin to remedy the mental health crisis in Texas. And we can do it by a vote for a single office. The truth is, I think the conservatives were asleep at the wheel. They left this office vulnerable because they've allowed the occupant, Ken Paxton, to increase his criminal affiliations, to basically become Trump's personal attorney as opposed to the people's attorney of Texas, and that provides us an opportunity to come in and claim that office for the people of Texas. That's what we plan on doing.
Thank you so much. I have one more question for you. Along with Pastor Tarver and others, you've been a vocal proponent in calling out corruption at the local level, particular areas like Denton County, where we know that corruption is rampant. So as Attorney General, what powers will you have to directly infiltrate that, to obstruct that, to put right now you're calling for the Department of Justice to investigate Denton County and the powers that be. How are you going to be able to use your office as Attorney General in Texas to be able to push forward with exposing that kind of corruption at the local level?
Well, we get to integrate with a movement that we have seen sweeping the nation. So what we've seen through Keith Ellison in the Attorney General office in Minnesota and getting justice for George Floyd, where the Attorney General's office came in and aided local prosecutors in ensuring convictions. And where we don't have a local prosecutor like in Georgia who's willing to work with the Attorney General's office, then you bring in the federal government. Right now, a long-term ally and friend named Kristen Clark is the head of the Civil Rights Division for the Biden administration's Department of Justice. That means we have access to federal investigators, federal resources, federal U.S. attorneys, prosecutors to bring justice in strongholds in Texas that otherwise would not grant accountability. That's including the place where I live. The community of Collin County failed the family of Marvin Scott. The community of Denton County failed Prosecutor John Paul
Johnson.
Yeah,
Paul
Prosecutor
Johnson.
Paul Johnson, who simply failed to do justice, failed to properly present Darius Tarver's case before a grand jury,
Right.
failed to take it seriously and return an indictment and do justice in that family. The justice for these families are not over. It continues both at the federal level, but once we have that Attorney General's office, we plan to initiate commissions. We plan to restart the Civil Rights Division of the Attorney General's office, an office that once existed, but that was ended under Republican leadership in
Wow.
the last 30 years. We're going to bring that office back, and we're going to make it one of the most well-funded offices in the country.
All right, so one last thing. What do you need from Texans to help you win the office of a Texas Attorney General? What calls to action can you send out?
We are running a people-based movement. That means I don't need union support. I don't need PAC money. Right now, we've had 10,000 people given to our campaign at less than $25 a piece, which makes us a people-powered movement. Now, our opponents like Ken Paxton and George P. Bush, they have old oil money dollars. Their donors give to them hundreds of thousands of dollars at a time. Despite that, we as a people's movement have been able to fundraise all of them, because people like you says, I have $5 and my cousin has $3, and we're willing to commit that a month to this campaign in order to get the outcomes that we're looking for, in order to have an Attorney General's office that will be a resource for our families, that will help provide access to us economically to the cannabis industry, for example. We believe giving into our campaign is an investment in the future of Texas and the future of our families and our communities. And so we're asking you to go to MERRITT4Texas.com, click the donate link and join. We're also accepting volunteers. We're going to be phone banking. We're going to be knocking on doors. We are in the month of September now.
Yeah, I know it's hard to believe.
So keep up, and then in November, the general election is in November 22. The primary election is in the primary election date has not been determined yet,
Right.
because the Republicans haven't finished picking our voters for us with the
Right.
redistricting that they're doing. So it could be March, it could be May, it could be potentially as late as June. But I want you to show up to the primaries. The Democratic Party doesn't want a movement as radical as ours. They believe in moderatism. They have a moderate candidate in the race, and they're looking to support him. That moderate candidate will lose against Ken Paxton.
Yep.
If we don't put forward a candidate out of the Democratic Party that can inspire the nation, that has a followership that is backed by a movement, we're going to lose again like we have since 1994. And so we have to first show up for the primary, vote for MERRITT as the candidate for the Democratic Party, and then we need to register to vote. We need to build coalitions. We need to bring the women's groups together. We need to bring the Black and Latino and Asian American, Muslim coalitions, the immigrant coalitions, everything that we can do to form Voltron, as I said earlier, and bring our team together so that we can win the office. The census data tells us that the numbers are present in Texas.
Yes.
For the same thing that happened in Texas that happened in Georgia the last election cycle. The only requirement is it's on us. We have to show up, and I think we can do it.
Thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
And
Thank
I'll
you.
be working hard to get you there.
Thank you so much.